Right, as promised, I've just had to take a moment. I've just read this letter. Quite powerful. Now, this is going to be long, guys. I did warn you. I'm going to do it in one hit. So we're maybe looking at, I don't know to be sure, but we're maybe looking at half an hour. So press pause, go and put the kettle on, get a beer, whatever. I'll say two things before I start. One, on a sort of comedy piss-taking level, I actually have nothing to add. It's that good. And two, if you live in Gloucestershire, I say Gloucestershire, this may be of slightly more interest to you. So I had a discussion with this lady on the phone last night. I've decided not to name her because obviously they'll recognise this anyway, so it's pointless. I am going to miss out one bit, which is the name of a private firm, stroke individual. So there will be a bit of a gap there. Because I don't know how that case turned out, and potentially you could get sued in a private case for that. Public servants, they're all a bag of shit, I don't care. To be quite honest. And you sound like you're very much at the same state with these people as I am. So you probably don't care. So here we go. I may need a sip of lager now and again for medicinal purposes, you know, the old throat drying up. What a trying time one has experienced and endured recently, courtesy of your car crash husband, which has caused considerable carnage, criticism and embarrassment. Well, unfortunately, Lizzie, the ordeal is only just beginning. So I suggest you buckle up and hold on to your hat, because you're going to be in for a very, very rough ride. Let us start our journey of discovery and enlightenment with a whistle, brackets blowing, stop tour of our completely corrupt to the core country, commencing with complicit and condoned criminality and corruption within my home county of Gloucestershire, as initially encountered in 2005. When PC Muncer and Chief Inspector Pickstock from a Gloucestershire Constabulary, PSD Perverse Standards Department, purposely perverted the course of justice by withholding and deleting damning video evidence in order to assist a fellow police officer escape misconduct proceedings and criminal prosecutions for dangerous driving, which was subsequently sanctioned by the IPCC, the Impotent Police Complaints Commission, who elected to ignore the catalogue of criminal contraventions committed, thereby also perverting the course of justice. Following the manipulated miscarriage of justice by Gloucestershire Constabulary and their partners in crime, the IPCC, it became eye-openingly evident that the priority was not protection of the public or prevention or detection of crime as purported, but protection of police perpetrators who were complicit with criminality and corruption. I am enjoying this. Throughout the last 14 years, I have witnessed a consistent and complete cover-up and continuation of institutional criminality and corruption from all and sundry, involving, and this is where it gets really fun, guys, there's a lot of naming and shaming going on here, Superintendent Gavin Thomas, Charlie Laporte, Bridget Woodall, Dave Selwood and Mark Chicken. No. There's actually a copper called Chicken. Chief Inspectors Marcus Griffiths, Mark Ravenscroft, Richard Burge. Inspector Kevin McCloskey, Natalie Delafale and Robert Haywood. Assistant Chief Constables Gary Thompson and Julian Moss. Deputy Chief Constable John Stratford and Craig Mackay. Chief Constables Tim Brain, Suzette Davenport and Rod Hanson. Police and Crime Commissioner, Martin Sewell. Deputy PCC, Chris Brierley. Chief Executive, Paul Trott. Deputy CEO, Richard Bradley. All Police and Crime Panel members, i.e. William Alexander, Julian Beale, David Brown, Johnny Brownstein, Joe Harris, Will Windsor Clive. Okay, if anyone knows that Will Windsor Clive, let me know if that's not a bit of a typo. I'm not sure. Gerald D. Gerald D. Colette Finnegan, Colin Hay, Bruce Hogan, Ruth Garnham, Lorraine Patrick, Keith Pearson, Steve Robinson, Matty Ross, Louis Savage. Isn't he an X Factor? Never mind. Martin Smith, Brian Tipper, County Council cohorts Mark Hawthorne and Stephen Bass, MP Richard Graham, and police PR puppet lady Sarah Bathurst. The 44 fraudulent facilitators, as hereby publicly named and shamed, have all been afforded the opportunity to act in compliance with their mandatory and moral duties, but have all chosen complicitly with criminality and corruption, culminating in thousands of complainants deliberately denied their statutory rights to due process in order to enable and facilitate the fabrication and falsification of complaint figures. I think Cambridge Police have been taking lessons from these people. Let us continue on our journey along the road to hell with a visit to the purported police watchdog, the IOPC, whereby precious public resources have been pilfered, plundered and pissed up the wall. Yeah. I think Cambridge Police have definitely been taking lessons from them. In the promotion of a pointless rebranding exercise on the pretense of providing accountable, robust scrutiny and oversight of policing following epic failure of the IPCC, who, by the way, Mrs. D. Cox of Cambridgeshire Professional Standards still think exists. She doesn't know it's the IOPC now. And predecessor of the Police Complaints Authority. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, whatever happened to them? I've still got letters from the Police Complaints Authority. The appointed Director General of the IOPC, Michael Lockwood, provided a public promise whereby people need to know when things go wrong or serious allegations made about police, they will be thoroughly investigated by a truly independent body. Michael Lockwood have something to do with some military contract. Am I thinking of the right guy? I don't know. I shall have to Google it afterwards. So in October 2018, I submitted an appeal to the IOPC following an absolute refusal from Gloucestershire Constabulary to record my 150 serious criminality and corruption allegations against a PSD, the Perverse Standards Department, ACU, Aiding (brackets and Abetting) Corruption Unit, and the COG, Corrupt Officers Group. Have you just made that up, COG? Does that actually stand for something? I've not heard of them. The IOPC upheld my appeal based on the indisputable evidence that Chief Inspector Marcus Griffiths from PSD, whom was appointed to the IN, which is appropriate authority, as the IN, appropriate authority, while subject of serious complaints, deliberately and dishonestly denied due process, despite damning evidence to corroborate criminal contraventions of perverting the course of justice and also misconduct in public office by preventing misconduct proceedings, or prosecution of police personnel. IOPC Assessment Analyst Abigail Darlow ignored criminality, corruption, IOPC protocol and the Police Reform Act upon unlawfully allowing the corrupt criminals subject to a catalogue of criminality and corruption complaints complete command and control of the complaint process. Whoa! This is hard work. It doesn't sound at all dissimilar to my case, so I hope you're very proud, your Freemason German Majesty, to be honest. I'm enjoying this, even if you're not. Oh wait, you switched off now, haven't you? I subsequently submitted an email to Michael Lockwood in protest at the dereliction of duty as duly demonstrated by the piss-poor and pathetic IOPC upon aiding and abetting the unlawful actions of corrupt to the core Gloucestershire constabulary. My email was answered by corruption complicit Abigail Darlow, whom advised that Michael Lockwood does not communicate with complainants. He's too important to speak to the minions, you know. Can't be having the minions coming up to head office like this. It'd just be chaos, I tell you. Chaos! And the IOPC will not be investigating the catalogue of criminality and corruption complaints or have any further involvement. Now sod off because we don't want any more contact with you. Yes, that sounds very familiar. Vexatious I used to get a lot, even though they'd never actually answered the complaint. So I made it again. Then I was just being vexatious. Quite surprising for them, because that's like, what, 3 syllables? It's quite a big word. The IOPC have been well and truly busted by the brackets bang to rights evidence, which tells the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. As true and telling testament that the IOPC are in on police corruption and absolutely unfit for purpose, whereby the 150 criminality and corruption complaints which duly required mandatory referral to the IOPC were subject to an unlawful refusal to record from the corrupt criminals subject of complaints within Gloucestershire constabulary, whom, despite committing a catalogue of contraventions, continued to conduct the brackets completely compromised and corrupted complaints process courtesy of the IOPC, culminating in further fundamental failures to record complaints in accordance with ROPC instruction or conduct any investigation to date. IOPC instruction to conduct. I really need to put my glasses on. Any investigation to date due to the IOPC failing their damn job. To do their damn job. Oh yes, they frequently fail to do their job. Which is to ensure complaints are conducted correctly in compliance with the, make sure I get this one right, PRA 2002. Police Reform Act. There you go. To maintain and increase public trust and confidence, to conduct independent investigation into police criminality and corruption, to ensure greater accountability and also provide powerful, robust scrutiny and oversight of policing, thereby constituting criminal contraventions of perverting the course of justice and misconduct in public office by purposely preventing prosecution of police personnel. Yes, but no, I'm finished. No, we've had this a lot lately, and there's a lot of stuff popping up on Facebook. There's a few police pages, and basically, if they resign, they haven't committed a crime. So, if you want to go out and mug old ladies and sexually assault young ladies, and I don't know, steal money or go around doing upskirt shots with the camera, Join the police first, then do all that stuff, and then when you get caught out, just resign. When you haven't committed the crime, then. That's the way it works. Our next port of call is Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary, HMIC. Yes, they're utterly useless if ever there was. Who are portrayed as objective oversight body which is purported to independently assess the effectiveness and efficiency of police forces in the public interest. In 2015, I submitted correspondence to HMIC concerning the consistent acts of criminality and corruption encountered and experienced throughout my extensive involvement with Gloucestershire Constabulary. In response to publication of inept integrity and corruption inspection conducted by ex-CPS Chief Prosecutor Inspector Drew Shatling, whereby HMIC found clear leadership and commitment on issues involving ethical and professional behaviour with PSD, ACU and COG, and OPCC, which is the Office of the Police Crime Commissioner, I believe. I don't know who COG are. That's a new one on me. Who are COG? Someone tell me. I may lose sleep. Providing effective oversight of integrity issues and misconduct matters. The constabulary responds to wrongdoing in an effective and timely manner, and PSD manages all public complaints to ensure each case is recorded, investigated and resolved effectively. However, investigation of local resolution complaints are carried out by divisional managers, whereby a significant proportion are assessed by PSD as not meeting the standards required for proper complaint resolution. Yeah, if you ever get this, guys, and I've just had it with the complaint I've got ongoing now, and the PSD say they want local resolution, say fucking no, not a chance in fucking hell, because they just all sort it out between themselves then. I'm not sure if they don't do local resolution that they have to do something else, or whether it gets passed straight back to the IPC, but never, ever, 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 ever accept local resolution. Because that's just them with their chums down the police station, working in the office next door, you know. It's like these banks who send out letters for debt, and the debt collectors are actually working in the bank's office. They're just on a different floor. Same firm. Well, so was it Wonga, or one of them got caught out for actually making up law firms? They were just phoning from Wonga, and they're saying we're fucking, I don't know, Smith Delaney law firm or something. Anyway, this has opened a can of worms. Where did I get to? I got to that bit. Telephone are not recorded. I'll start here. My correspondence categorically contested, contradicted, condemned, and corrected the biased BS bullshit of unsubstantial assumptions, supposition, hearsay, and far-fetched fiction upon advising HMIC of the complicit, condoned criminality and corruption contraventions concerning PSD, ACU, COG and OPCC, whereby complaints submitted by telephone are not recorded and are not conducted and concluded by way of telephone communication without implementation of the statutory complaint process Police Reform Act 2002 or any involvement from PSD personnel. Yes, I'm on the right bit. Yeah, because that last bit was the proper complaint resolution. Good. Sorry, I was worried I'd missed a paragraph. Oh yeah, we're on 20 minutes now. My brackets resubmitted correspondence brackets due to alleged non-receipt received a reply from Reginald Bevan. Reginald Bevan. Advising the HMIC do not investigate complaints. What's the fucking point here then? It's like 5, I think we discussed this before, there's like 5 fucking police sort of watchdog bodies. But when you ask any of them, none of them actually investigate anything. And the IPC, same as the IPCC as was, I believe, I can't actually tell the police what to do. They can just suggest. So they're all utterly fucking pointless, basically. Do not investigate complaints, and the requested meeting in order to enable submission of further evidence is refused. In 2018, I contacted HMIC and reiterated my request for a meeting in relation to the prejudiced and perverse perception provided to the public upon publication of the brackets compromised and corrupt integrity and corruption inspection report 2014. I was advised that HMIC had no record of any communication or correspondence. Yeah, well, they do like to lose things that don't suit them. Whereupon I informed HMIC that my brackets damning disclosures had been dismissed, disregarded, discarded by Reginald Bevan, and duly disclosed to the Gloucestershire Constabulary, constituting complete contravention of the Data Protection Act 1998. I also advised HMIC once again of the clear, corroborated countrywide criminality and corruption contraventions comprehensively committed by the all-powerful forces, by all police forces, concerning the complaints procedure constituting deliberate denial of due process. HMIC, I'm glad I'm not drunk yet, I tell you. HMIC refused to accommodate my meeting request, again, or amend the load of lies perpetrated by to the public, thereby constituting complicity with criminality and corruption and contravention to the Code of Conduct, which stipulates that HMIC act entirely in the public interest to ensure an effective, efficient, independent and objective service whereby everyone acts ethically, fairly, openly with so I can't get through that. I haven't met one police officer yet that acts ethically, fairly, openly, with honesty and integrity to promote improvements in policing, which is duly demonstrated by our independent, informed, impartial, evidence-based inspections of the police service. Service in inverted commas malarkey. I told you it'd be fun, didn't I? Next up on our Majestic Magical Mystery Tour is the Crown Prosecution Service. Aha! As Alan Partridge was saying. Those who like to say that they're not allowed to speak to you, but then hang up on you, and then tell you a court case is cancelled when it's not. Who are duty-bound by the Crown Prosecutor's Code to conduct a fair, objective, impartial, independent process. Sorry, again. It's not really ringing true with me for some reason. To the Crown Prosecution Code to conduct a fair, objective, impartial, independent process in order to bring offenders to justice by ensuring the right person is prosecuted for the right offence. Yes, I think that's true, actually. I think that's in their code of whatever it is that they have to swear by. There is sufficient evidence to provide a realistic prospect of conviction and prosecution in the public interest. In 2018, I contacted the CPS following a fundamental failure from Gloucester Shite Constabulary to issue a notice of intended prosecution in relation to a reported (life-threatening) dangerous driving offence, thereupon constituting the criminal offences of assisting an offender and persecuting the course of justice by willfully and purposely preventing the potential prosecution of the... And that is the bit I'm not going to mention, because that's the name of a private firm. I informed CPS Senior Prosecutor Marianne... Oh, bloody hell. Aquilima, I think, of compelling extensive evidence to corroborate comprehensive and condoned criminality and corruption consistently committed by the complicit, compromised, corrupt criminals within Gloucester Shite Constabulary. Whereupon I was advised accordingly that the CPS does not prosecute police officers. You will have to do a private prosecution. In respect of the above significant self-incriminating statement submission, there is consequently a cast iron case of bent intent. Nice one, I like that. Bent intent. Cast iron case of bent intent. Upon confession of a complete cop-out, cover-up and definitive dereliction of duty, thereby duly ensuring that the police perpetrators are afforded absolute immunity from the Copper Protection Service. Yes, the CPS, Copper Protection Squad. Due to deliberate dishonest denial, dismissal, disregard and disposal of due process. Yeah, they just throw evidence out. I did that with me. Half an hour I spent in the police cells arguing with that fucking fat idiot of a police sergeant who just thought my hernia was extremely funny. And I lost all that. It's just fucking vanished, didn't it? Actually, so did the police sergeant later. From the disclosures detailed throughout the course of my correspondence, there is no (reasonable or unreasonable) doubt that the police and their partners in crime, the IOPC, HMIC and CPS, have all committed complicit criminal contraventions of perverting the course of justice, assisting offenders and also misconduct in public office, upon ignoring (industrial) institutional criminality and corruption. Following the explicit exposure of our profoundly perverse justice system, it is imperative that we continue to follow the evidence trail into the deepest, darkest depths of depravity. Oh, you don't want to go there. Not there. In order to identify the demonic, detrimental driving force fueling the facilitation of comprehensive countrywide criminality and corruption. I didn't write this, guys. Seriously, this is a letter that I've had from someone else. If there's any out there thinking I don't hide, do I? When I'm on here, everything fucking comes out. So this is from someone else. And I don't live in Gloucestershire anyway, so I never have. Not sure I'd want to now. There is one common denominator associated with the aforementioned law (lus) authorities whom are allowed and authorised to act with absolute impunity by ignoring constitutional improprieties up to and including (state sanctioned) murder. Oh, we've seen that with fucking Cressida Dick, haven't we? Murdering bitch. And then when she was an inspector or a superintendent or something. And then they all hid her in the Home Office for 10 years and then promoted her to Chief Constable of the Met. Vile cow. And that, Lizzie, is you and your affiliation with the police, IOPC, CPS, HMIC, whereby corrupt criminals are readily rewarded by the satanic state, such as Sir Chris Mackey. Craig Mackey, rather. Yeah, remember him? London Bridge job. A.k.a. the cowardly commissioner who watched and waited in his car whilst PC Palmer was killed in front of his face and then drove away, constituting the ultimate dereliction of duty by dishonouring the primary purposes of policing. Well, we couldn't have any of them, could we? Primary purpose? What's that, Gov? No idea. Fuck me, D.I. Regan would be churning in his fucking grave now, wouldn't he? He just used to fudge a bit of paperwork. Jesus. Which is the preservation of life, protection of the public and prevention of crime. And Suzette Davenport, whom, despite aiding and abetting a major miscarriage of justice, was promoted to Chief Constable and awarded the Queen's Policing Medal. By you. The Queen, again. Whilst whistleblower Detective Inspector Joe Anderson was dismissed by the police service due to disclosure of institutional criminality and corruption. Last page. The criminality and corruption complicit country commands control by Stasi state. Sanctioned suppression whereby whistleblowers are not wanted or welcome and will be screwed, shafted, silenced, sodomised and royally stitched up by the psychopathic powers that be, who sanction and serve the seriously sick psychotic state which should be sectioned in the interests of public protection due to deep-rooted disorders of derangement, delusion and detachment from truth and reality. Well, that just about hits the fucking nail on the head, really, doesn't it? The great British public have been betrayed by the enemy within upon removal and refusal to recognise or respect rights and freedom fought for and secured by the significant self-less sacrifices of steadfast stalwarts to serve the greater good. As sovereign of the sad, sadistic, shameful, shocking, sordid state. I need a moment again, I think. Jesus. This is very powerful stuff. You are a hypocritical traitor whom should be detained indefinitely at Her Majesty's pleasure for the countless contraventions committed by collusion, conspiracy and complicity with criminality and corruption, culminating in comprehensive abuse, exploitation, facilitation of fraud, injustice, miscarriages of justice, and murder. I do love irony. I mean, irony is my middle fucking name. If an ironer is going to get into a situation, I'll be involved in it. And this is just fucking beautiful, I think. Imagine the Queen being arrested and held in prison. What a fucking outcome that would be, eh? Our completely corrupt police service is absolutely unfit for purpose, whereby the public are paying for a service which the police are failing to provide, thereby constituting criminal offences of obtaining money by deception and demanding money with menaces by means of mob mentality, harassment, intimidation, theft, threatening behaviour, extortionate financial penalties, kidnap and imprisonment. Yeah, definitely is a nail on the head. Whilst the public have been abandoned by police who willfully ignore thousands of offences committed every day in our out-of-control, crime-ridden country as a consequence of alleged insufficient resources. You and your self-serving, state-scrounging family of freeloaders are afforded 24/7 personnel police protection paid from paid from the public purse at an estimated cost of £100 million per annum, which would pay for 4,000 police officers. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of research as well. I didn't know that. Fuck me. We're wasting that amount of cash on those fucking freeloading wankers. You obviously consider yourself to be far more important than the 66 million members of the public who are treated with complete contempt by this cruel and callous country, which still serves as a slave-driving dictatorship, whereupon the piss-poor peasants are forced into a lifetime of hard labour and lifelong poverty by pilfering of their hard-earned paltry pay to fund your lazy, luxurious lifestyle. Well, that's true, really, isn't it? I mean, you can't fucking doubt that. Your reign of terror, treachery and tyranny is coming to a close, and therefore it is imperative that the great and the good British public realise their righteous ruler is a pathological psychopath masquerading as friend not foe, whom is party to despicable deeds of deliberate deception, dishonesty and disdain as persistently promoted through propaganda to protect and preserve perverse public perception. You have brought our country into disrepute due to the diabolical deviance duly delivered and demonstrated by your arbitrary, egotistical, grandiose, illegitimate, immoral, irrational, manipulative, parasitic, perverted, cold, calculated, criminal conduct, whereby you, just as your father before you, have blood on your hands. Yeah, give the crown jewels back, you thieving bastards. I mean, all those African countries that are living in fucking absolute poverty now is mainly because you stole all their fucking money, you thieving fucking gits. Well, at long last, Lizzie, we have come to the end of the road and arrived at your final, fitting destination, the gates of hell, where eternal damnation is waiting in the wings. So I bid you goodbye, good riddance, and fond farewell, fiend, as I leave you to face your fate as you follow the purgatory pathway into perdition. Right, if you didn't stay to the end of that, I'm going to send a seagull around to peck your fucking ankles. I fucking love that. That is fucking awesome, I think. Comments, please.